Hey, I'm Aaron, and I'm the operations pastor at Northside. Thanks for taking some time to watch this video. We're currently in a sermon series entitled Entrusted, where we're being encouraged together to consider everything we have in life as a gift from God. And this week specifically, we're talking about being entrusted with family. And I want to tell you a brief story about my family. My wife and I, Sarah, have 5 kids. And we've got 4 daughters, and our youngest is a boy. His name is Judah. And one thing you need to know before I tell the story is that in our house, our kids really love Disney movies. And if you know anything about Disney, you know that over the past couple of years, they've been remaking animated classics with real actors and actresses. And so in our home, our kids refer to those 2 types of movies as animated movies and real live action movies. And so recently, my wife and I and a few of our girls went to Guatemala on a mission trip. And it just so happened that Judah's birthday fell while we were there in Guatemala. And so we made plans to have a birthday party and celebrate him before we left. We made arrangements for him to be celebrated in our absence on the day of his birthday, and we even FaceTimed from Guatemala to wish him happy birthday. And when we got back from the mission trip, the following day, that morning, I was getting Judah dressed for the day, and as innocently as he could possibly say, here's what he said to me. Daddy, it's okay that you and Mommy forgot about my real live action birthday. I got to tell you, as a dad, in that moment, I felt so sad and so bad that he believed that he thought that we'd forgotten about his birthday. And so I had to remind him that we FaceTimed him, that we celebrated before we left, and he got over it pretty quickly. But in the moment, I felt terrible because it's a big deal to be a dad, and it's really hard to be a good dad or a good mom. And we've all been entrusted with family relationships. They may look a little different for you than they do for me, but we're all in a family of some kind. We've all been entrusted with family relationships. And so that's what we're talking about today. And our Bible passage for today comes from the book of Song of Songs, chapter 2, verse 15. And so let's read that together. Catch for us the foxes, the little foxes that ruin the vineyards, are vineyards that are in bloom. This is actually a poem between 2 lovers, and one lover is encouraging, imploring the other to make sure that they take care of these foxes that will ruin the vineyard. The foxes simply represent any obstacle to intimacy, any obstacle to the 2 lovers being together. Foxes certainly ruin vineyards by eating fruit, among other things. And so in this passage, we read the importance of paying attention to the little things that could cause big issues. And so the question I want to ask for you is, as you think about your family, the family relationships that you've been entrusted with, what are the little things, what are the little foxes that if left unattended could, over time, create big issues for your family, could eventually cause you to lose intimacy and close and healthy relationships with the people in your family? I want to share a couple of little foxes that I've personally experienced and that you might want to be aware of and looking out for as well. And I want to separate those between marriage foxes and family foxes. Here's 2 little foxes when it comes to marriage that I've observed. One is resentful thoughts. So when I find myself thinking poorly about my wife, maybe things I would never even say out loud, but I become resentful over something she's done or something that I think she should do, or any of a million issues that could crop up in the marriage relationship. When I allow those resentful thoughts to persist in my mind, over time they actually lead to barriers of intimacy with my wife. And so that's a little fox that you might think, what's the big deal? It's just a thought that I have. But when those add up, they can be obstacles to your relationship with your spouse. Another little fox is digital distractions. Now, maybe you don't have any of those, but I know that if I spend too much time looking at my phone or watching TV, or maybe playing Fortnite with the kids, or maybe playing Fortnite by myself, if I keep it real, digital distractions can be obstacles between me and a healthy relationship with my wife. And so what are the potential little foxes in your marriage relationship if you're married? You want to pay attention to those. They might not seem like a big deal in the moment, but over time they could add up to create barriers, obstacles between you and your spouse. When it comes to family foxes, I think about one being busyness. It seems like almost every family that I know deals with that, the issue of being just so busy. With 5 kids, we've got a lot of different things going on our schedule, and if we're not careful, all of those little foxes, all those little sporting events, all those little programs at school, all those little whatever they are, fill up the calendar, and they distract us from opportunities to grow in our relationship as a family. The second little fox when it comes to families is delegating discipleship. And what I mean by that is it may seem like no big deal to say, you know what, we'll go to church and someone else will disciple my kids. Someone else will disciple my spouse. And so we delegate that. When in reality, if we don't take responsibility, if we don't seize the opportunity to point the people that we're in relationship with in our family to Jesus, if we're not discipling our kids, if we're not pointing our spouse or even our parents to Jesus, then we're missing out on an opportunity. And over time, that can be an obstacle as well. You are uniquely positioned in relationship to your family to point them to Jesus. Don't ever delegate that opportunity, that responsibility. What are the little foxes that could become obstacles between you and the other members of your family? Those relationships you've been entrusted with. I hope you'll pay close attention and allow God to do what he wants to do in your life and in your family. Well, thanks so much for watching today. If you're watching this on YouTube and you're not already subscribed to the Northside channel, make sure you do that so you get future content. But that's it for now. Thanks for taking the time to watch. Take care.